Hello, 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 hello. This is episode 6 of the Core Growth Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron, of course, as usual. And this is another episode. Another one. And we are a week out till Christmas. So this episode is going to be it's going to be I feel like it's interesting. I feel like it's an interesting episode. Who knows? But yeah, no. This theme for today, this topic, is about relationships, and as just like the other ones, just like the other episodes, I've put down some questions that I will kind of answer. And just a side note, as just like the other episodes, I will be talking about this in the future as well. In fact, I will be talking about this topic again with some friends. They've expressed their interest in this topic and would love to, speak their mind in regards to this topic. And they've had their fair share of experiences with relationships and yeah, would love to kind of share their knowledge. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah, share their knowledge, their experiences, so that other people like myself can grow and can learn from their experiences. And that's kind of the whole reason as to why I do the podcast. So yeah, we're taking a step there in that regard. And yeah, with that being said and done, let's get right into this episode, shall we? All right. all right. Now, just to be clear, if any of you know me and know my history, let's say, with relationships, it is an interesting one. I can't really I can't really speak about it too much, but yeah, I've had interesting stuff, but you know what? Let's leave it at that. All right, so let's get into these questions. Let's get into these bloody questions. All right, awesome. So first and foremost, what is a relationship? What is this thing? What is it? All right, well, a relationship is a connection between individuals. And yeah, short and sweet, right? Short, sweet, and simple. It's just a connection between individuals. And there can be so many things done with those connections. And connections can come in many different shapes, many different forms, many different sizes. But moving on to the next question. What kinds of connections are there? The way I kind of see it, there's the casual, like a casual relationship, like a casual connection. Just on and off, really. Like this can apply to a friendship. This can apply to a romantic relationship or romantic interest. Yeah, it can be kind of casual, or it can be very, very present or very well connected, well maintained kind of connection. Or it could be a very non-existent one where it's just like a one and done thing, where there's barely any connection or barely any time to develop a relationship at all. And yeah, the way with all of this is, like I said, connections can come in different shapes, different sizes, different forms. And there are also different ways to connect to people, through hobbies, through interests, through experiences. And yeah, it's good to kind of keep that in mind. And the next question is, why is this important to know? Now, I believe it is very, very important to kind of to know these things. Honestly, it's really important to know these things to kind of gauge where you're at, to gauge myself and where I'm at. And whether in terms of a romantic relationship, it's good to kind of gauge where myself or you are as the individual, where we're all at, to kind of, yeah, to gauge where we're all at so that we can kind of determine whether we are ready for a romantic relationship or not. I myself, I know I'm not. Yeah, in terms of friendships, there's not really that much of, like, you don't need to gauge too much of whether you're ready to be friends with someone or not. I don't think there's not too much of a cost there. um yeah, it is good to know, and it is very important to know, which is the next question. Why is it important to know? Why is this important to know? What kind of connections there are and all these different things. It is very important to know. Yeah, like I said, to gauge where we're at. Um, to reflect on ourselves and our current relationships, our past relationships, and kind of see if things went wrong, how did they go wrong? If things are going great, why are they going great? Is it because of me or is it because of the other person? And kind of asking all these different questions to ourselves, and yeah, like that reflection process, and going through a lot of these different scenarios that have already happened in our past and in our history, in order to kind of find like the best thing for everyone, like what's in everyone's best interest. Like if you're in a toxic relationship, like a toxic friendship, a toxic romantic relationship, immediately you've got to cut that out. And yeah, it's good to kind of reflect on these things and evaluate a lot of things that happen. Another thing as to why it's important to know is to also kind of evaluate ourselves and our intentions with our relationships. I feel like it's so easy to kind of get caught up in all of our feelings and whatnot when getting involved in a relationship, both in a friendship and romantic relationship. It's very easy to kind of get carried away, but we don't often think about our intentions. Like, what is my intention with this friendship, with this romantic relationship? What's my intention? Am I truly trying to be present in this person's life, try to be involved? Do I truly care about this person? Do I, like, yeah, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions to ask if if all of these things are coming from a pure place. And whether we're doing things for the right reasons. Because yeah, like I said, it's very easy to get carried away. It's very easy to get caught up in the flow, caught up in the feelings and emotions of life, and just time, because time is, everything's just moving, and it doesn't slow down. Unfortunately not. Time just doesn't slow down. Shows no mercy to anyone. And yeah, so all these kinds of connections are important to know, and relationships are important to know. And another thing is that we are able to kind of see whether we maintain our relationships or not. If we're in the know and aware about our relationships and aware about ourselves, we can kind of gauge whether we maintain our relationships or not. And I feel like when it comes to relationships and all those things, or at least maintaining relationships and all those things, there's an aspect of respect, an aspect of trust, where if it's a relationship you truly want to maintain, a relationship you truly care about, there's trust and there's respect involved. And yeah, so that's kind of why all of this is important. Why connections and relationships are important, um and yeah, like it all like branches out into like different things, right? um for the next kind of set of questions, it'll just be talking about the why of all these different things that I just said. So why should we reflect on our relationships? Now, I kind of briefly spoke about it, like for all these different questions, but yeah, I briefly just spoke about it just then. It is very, very important that we should reflect on our relationships so that we know where not to go and where we should go in terms of where the relationship would be heading. And yes, when I say relationship, I mean both friendship and romantic and all that. Yeah. So, yeah, we know what to avoid when we're kind of reflecting on our current relationships based off maybe someone else's experiences, maybe based off our own experiences. We would have a general idea of what to avoid and what to go towards, what to head towards, you know. And it's important. Relationships are very, very important, because we are social creatures. Humans are social beings, and we lose our ability to function if we don't kind of have things settled in regards to relationships. I'll speak more on that in a bit. But yeah, moving on. Why should we evaluate our intentions with our relationships? Now, intentions are a really important thing to keep in mind when when getting involved with a relationship. Intentions are very, very important. It's kind of hard for me to explain, but I mean, I'm sure you would see it the same, that intentions are very important for a relationship. Whether I truly care about the person and knowing what's best for them, but also kind of what's best for myself, like what's in everyone's best interest for the relationship to head in whatever direction. What's in everyone's best interest? What is going to work out for everyone? Yeah, because we could get lost in feelings, lost in emotions, and forget why we even decided to jump into a relationship in the first place, or decided to make that connection in the first place. Yeah, because things can, like, if you don't have good intentions or you don't have pure intentions with relationships and friendships and whatnot, like romantic relationships and friendships, things will eventually fall apart. It just happens because if it's not of pure intentions, then it's of lies, essentially. If it's not yeah, like if it's a relationship built on lies, then it's most definitely going to fall apart eventually. Um, and also, relationships are a two-way street. So if you're going into a relationship with the intention of what I can get out with this, like what can I get out of this? Like if you're going into a relationship with that kind of mindset and that kind of intention, then yeah, things are just not going to work out. It's just going to be a waste of time for everyone. And yeah, we just don't have that time. We do not have enough time in the world to be spending with crap like that, with people that have bad intentions. It's not worth the time. It's not worth the effort to kind of go through any of those things. Like if you're trying to get into a relationship with bad intentions, it's not worth the time, it's not worth the effort, because it's going to fall apart eventually. Next question. Why should we maintain our relationships? Now, maintaining them is an interesting one. Well, okay. So going back to the previous question real quick, the one about intentions. So relationships are built on respect and trust. And if you have bad intentions, most of the time you're not going to have respect and trust. So that foundation goes out the window straight away. Now, in regards to maintaining the relationship, maintaining it assumes that there's already a good thing going on, meaning that there's already trust, meaning that there's already respect for the other person. And going to the why of why we should maintain our relationships, why we should do that, it's because we care about the other person. To put it simply, we care about the other person, we trust them, we respect them, and that we'd want them in our lives. Because if you have a relationship with someone and you didn't want them in your life, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like if I didn't like someone and I'm like, hey, you be a part of my life. I don't like you, but be a part of my life nonetheless. What's going to come out of that? Like if two people that don't like each other suddenly build like a friendship or whatever, like it's just going to be like a toxic friendship. And toxic friendships should already be just cut off regardless. But what's the point on starting off with a toxic friendship? And it's not even like a rivalry or anything. Like, cause rivalry, you like respect the other person, at least. Like you respect their ability in whatever shape or form. Like they are someone that rivals you, and yeah, like you have respect for them because they are like on the same level or a bit higher or a bit lower, and there's that competition going. But with a toxic friendship, there's no point, or a toxic romantic relationship, there's no point. And yeah, like we should maintain these things to grow, to build each other up, to develop something beautiful, because there is that potential. Always, every time, there is that potential. And yeah, we just got to stay consistent, and we've got to make sure that we keep all of these things in mind. Because yeah, it's easy to lose track of things. It's easy to get carried away, to get lost. But it's okay. It's okay to get, to to lose track. It's easy to get lost. It's easy to lose sight of things, get carried away. Like it's it's okay. It's okay. But the next part is to know that it's okay, but also not let it happen again, or at least try to not let things go sour again. Um yeah. Okay. So, what have I learned about Oh, actually, I didn't even put this on the thing. Okay, so what have I learned about reflecting on relationships? Now, I've learned a lot. Um, my past relationships have all been so interesting, and they've been with a lot of interesting people. I've been around a lot of different people, different walks of life, different what do you call it? Lifestyles. And different perspectives, different values, a lot of different people. And a lot of the time, the people that I knew, that I met, that I, was in consistent connection with, a lot of these people were good people. Good people kind of doing the wrong thing. But of course, at the time, I didn't realize that. It was just people being people to me. Um, but yeah, it's good to look back at these things and kind of learn from, like, past experiences. Like, all right, so this kind of person was like this, and what can I learn from the way that they conducted their life and the way that they spoke, the way that they acted? Like, what kind of things can I learn from that person, from their livelihood? And yeah, kind of reflecting on previous friendships or romantic relationships. You can learn a lot from reflecting. And I learned personally what kind of people I would want to be around. Mainly at the time, mainly I was hanging around eccentric people. Uh yeah, I'll leave it there. But yeah, like I was around people that were very eccentric, but I didn't have too deep conversations often. Like, I wouldn't always get into like deeper conversations with them. It'll be strictly like surface level kind of relationships. Of course, the people I was closer to, I would have deeper conversations, but for the most part, when I was going around like different places with meeting different people, it wouldn't ever be that deep, or it'll just be surface level things, small talk and whatnot, right? So yeah, I personally learned the kinds of people that I'd want in my life, and kind of learned what I'm willing to do and kind of go through in order to get that, in order to have that present in my life. And fortunately for me, I already have that. Like, yeah, I have that now after that reflection, and I need to make sure that I appreciate the people that give that to me. I kind of give that support, give that interaction, and that intimacy, whatever. And in terms of intentions, for the next question, what I learned from evaluating my intentions with relationships, um, a lot. I I mean, like I said, I learned what's best for them and what's best for me, um, and sometimes I had to spell it out to the people involved in the friendships and the groups and whatever. But for me, I learned how to kind of be more expressive in regards to like intentions and whatever. Um, how do I explain it? Like if my intention with to hang out with someone is to, make sure that they're, like, say if someone's going through something, like a friend of mine is going through something, and I decide to hang out or have a chat with them, I will make my intentions clear that, if I'm going to hang out with them, I need to make sure that they're okay. I need to make sure that they're doing well. And if they aren't, then I will make sure that I let them know that I'm willing to listen to whatever it is that they want to talk about, and I am willing to support them in whatever it is that they're going through. So kind of being expressive with the why of the things that I do is it's a great thing. It's a great thing to know and to have, and to do, to yeah, for all these things with relationships. And what have I learned about maintaining relationships? Now, I will talk about my little experiment, or I say little, but it was kind of, oh man, it was an interesting one. So, around the start of December, I'd say maybe for like 12 days, I went on like some sort of hiatus, let's say, where I would go off social media, and I include like Discord, and I include Messenger, I include like a lot of these different voice chat apps as social media, as well as like the bigger ones like Instagram and Facebook or whatever. Like I was off of all of that, except for like the one or two, three times that I'd message someone because they're talking to me about something important. But yeah, so I went on like a 12-day disappearance where I just completely would not talk to anyone for the most part, and I wouldn't say anything about anything. Now that kind of now that sounds very, very odd to do for an experiment, right? Like what kind of experiment is this? Now, for me, it was definitely like a spur of the moment thing. Like I wasn't planning to do an experiment like this. I wasn't like checking off like a list, like, all right, now's the right time to go jump into the deep end. Like, let's freaking go. Like, no, I didn't have a checklist. It was very much a just spur of the moment thing that I did, and not we, and I, and yeah, I just fully disconnected from everyone and everything. And I personally learned a lot, in terms of like what not to do, more so than what to do. Um, and what I mean by that is, like I said earlier, that humans are social creatures, right? That we are very much so social beings, where we rely on social interaction. And well, let's just say not talking to my friends, to other people I care about aside from my family, to not be talking with them for 12 days was so depressing. It was absolutely depressing. Like, think about how connected we all are. Think about how you can be connected with someone instantaneously on social media. You can be so involved with very little sacrifice. You can be involved in their lives by looking at their stories, looking at their pictures, that they post or whatever, and yeah, like being able to have a chat with them, even like just messages instead of a voice chat or a call or whatever. Like some sort of interaction. Like there's something there, so it's okay, right? But for me, it was so depressing because I like for me there was nothing, no calls, no messages, no looking at stories. I barely do that anyway, but yeah, I just not having those options there where I'm not allowed to scroll through my feed. I'm not allowed to go through the stories. I'm not allowed to message. I'm not allowed to call anyone. It is a depressing thing to be disconnected from everyone you care about. And that's a thing that I learned about not doing, or what I shouldn't do. And most likely what you shouldn't do. Like, what we all really shouldn't do is be disconnected. Because it is a very disappointing. It is a very depressing thing to be disconnected, and it is very lonely. To be brutally honest, it is very lonely. Um, if you're like thinking about like the contrast, like when you think about the contrast of how connected everyone is, how connected everyone can be, versus complete isolation, there is that hit of like, damn, this sucks. There is that realization and that click of like, oh man, this is terrible, and I should never go through something like this again. Like, I've thought about it, like in like over the past like couple months and stuff, of what it's like being lonely. Not like, um how would I explain it? To kind of be more appreciative of my friends and my family. Like I talked about it before, about how easy it is to live a lonely life. Like it truly is so easy. Like I disconnected for 12 days. It's like instantaneously. Like I just decided to do it and I did it. It's so easy to be lonely. And it is so scary being lonely, because immediately you can just switch on and head into a dark place. Like your mind can wander into a dark place because you have no one keeping you in check. You have no friends to keep you in line. You have no friends to kind of check up on you. And yeah, like your friends wouldn't be in the know. Your family wouldn't be in the know. Like no one would know what's going on with you. And yeah, now I learned kind of, yeah, what not to do, right? Like I've said it before, that doing like being disconnected from everyone is definitely something you shouldn't do. So on the flip side, what I learned about maintaining relationships is that you got to be consistent, and you got to be expressive, you got to be open. And it's not an easy thing, absolutely not. And it takes time. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of energy, but it's definitely worth it. Definitely worth the time, definitely worth the effort, worth the energy to go through these steps of kind of developing something bigger. And yeah, kind of doing all those things. And how did I put all these things into practice? How did I put all these things I learned into practice? Honestly, I'm still in the process of putting it into practice, because it is still a very fresh experience for me of this whole like disappearance. Um, I'm sure most of you wouldn't have noticed anyway, because I'm already so disconnected from social media, at least. Um, but yeah, it is still, like I said, a very fresh experience. So I'm still kind of taking it one step at a time of applying all these different things in my life. Uh, yeah, all these different things that I learned into my life, and yeah, hopefully I can continue and build something, build something great, build something beautiful in all these different relationships, and hopefully I can reach out to more different people, reach out to more friends, and more people. Okay, so what's next for me after all of these things and after the application process? I kind of said it just then. Well, I plan on reconnecting with a lot of friends from high school, a lot of friends from TAFE, and a lot of friends from other places in my life that I just can't think of right now. Um, yeah, I plan on reconnecting. I plan on involving myself in other people's lives once again, um, so that so that they can know that I'm okay, and so that I can know that they're okay. And this definitely isn't like, I don't intend on this being like a one-time thing where I just say like, "Hey, are you okay?" and then they say yeah, and then I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm okay too," and then just like disappear or whatever. Like, I plan to kind of at least keep it somewhat consistent when reconnecting with these other people. Maybe like every couple days or weeks, like on a weekly basis or on a daily or maybe couple day basis, where I'd message them, see how they're going, what they're up to. And yeah, like I plan on branching out. And yeah, because I care about all these people that I've met in my past. Like, all of these people, great people. But just as time goes on, sometimes like it's inevitable that you disconnect, especially because things were never consistent in the first place. Then yeah, it's the inevitable. And yeah, disconnection was always meant to happen if that was the case. But I intend on kind of getting involved in a lot of different people's lives once again, and being more expressive, being more open, and yeah, letting people know from the get-go that I'm thankful for them, because I truly am. Like, I really wouldn't be here if I hadn't met any of the people that I met. Um and yeah, so that's kind of what's next for me, in terms of relationships. I mean, I've got a lot of other plans in other aspects of my life that I won't talk about. Um, yeah, so that's what's next for me, and what else is there for me. And yeah, what about you? Um, do you reflect on your own relationships? Do you think about your intentions regarding your relationships? Do you maintain your relationships at all? Um, all valid questions, and I feel like these are questions that you should think about. Yeah, like, think about whether you do reflect on your relationships, whether you do think about your intentions regarding your relationships, whether you do maintain your relationships at all. These are very, very good questions. And I feel like I ask myself this as well every now and then, to kind of see where I'm at and if I am kind of staying on track with all of this. So, yeah, some questions for you. And yeah, you can kind of think about it in your own time and move forward from there. So, if you are doing all these things, like if you do reflect on your relationships, if you do think about your intentions, and if you do maintain your relationships, if you do, that is great. And I'm glad that it's working out for you. And I'm glad that it continues to work out for you and for the benefit of everyone. But if it isn't, if this isn't the case for you, and things aren't working out, why isn't it working out? Is it an issue with you? Is it an issue with the other person? If it's an issue with you, then you should probably go ahead and fix it. And if it's an issue with the other person, you should probably address it. Well, yeah, that's just how it is with relationships, because it is a two-way street. If you know it's a problem with you, like you know for certain it's a problem with you, you gotta go fix it. And the only thing stopping you from fixing it is probably you, right? Not to be blunt or brutally honest here, but if that's the case, that's probably what it is. But if you know for a fact 100% that it's the other person, then you gotta go address it. You make things clear, give them time to work things out, and give them time to fix it. If you truly care about the relationship, truly care about the person, truly respect the person, then and that's the way it is. But also, another thing that I've learned over time, over time, and a quote that I came across time ago. If things, no wait, no, fire, I'm gonna butcher this quote. Sometimes relationships were meant to happen, but relationships weren't meant to be. So sometimes, like a relationship that you're in, like I said, regardless if it's a friendship, regardless if it's a romantic one, sometimes they're meant to happen. Like you can learn different things from your relationships, but sometimes they aren't meant to be. Like they aren't meant to last a lifetime. And sometimes things are meant to go wrong for you to learn. I know that's how it is for me in some cases. Like sometimes you gotta cut people off in order for yourself to grow. It's unfortunately the case sometimes, but it is the truth. It is like me being honest, really. Sometimes it isn't always meant to work out. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the end of that right there. There's much more that I'd say, but I'll leave it off for the next time I talk about this topic with my friends. Okay. So, that's that for the portion of the podcast. I would like to close off this episode with a challenge. With a wonderful little challenge. So I'm recording this on the 17th of December. And so I plan on dropping this tomorrow, which would be the 18th. And my challenge to you and my challenge to myself is that for the rest of the month to let someone know that you love them. Let someone know that you care about them, that you appreciate them. It's an interesting thing, right? Now, this challenge, if you don't want to participate, that's fine. It's not for everyone, but the kind of intention I have with this is, with Christmas coming around the corner, I feel like it's a very wholesome thing to do, right? And it shouldn't be only when Christmas is around or only when the holiday season is around. It should be a regular thing. And I feel like maybe doing something like this can kind of normalize that, where you'd be vulnerable towards the people around you, and just straight up say that, like, hey, I care about you. Hey, I love you. Hey, I really appreciate you and the things that you do. Like, these things are things that should be said. They should be said. And yeah, with Christmas around the corner, it's a great thing. With New Year around the corner as well. And also another thing I'd like to point out is that words have a lot of power. When you say things to someone, it has a lot of power. And I've been learning this. I've been learning a lot about this recently in my youth group, where the things you say can truly destroy someone. Like, if you say something horrible to someone, it can truly break a person. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, it holds true, where if you say something really encouraging, it could truly be the foundation of building a person up. And it could be the greatest thing to someone. Like, it could mean the world to someone when you encourage them. Because honestly, when we say things to someone, sometimes we don't even think about where they're at in their life, whether they're having an off day, an off week, off month, off year, off decade, even. So yeah, we don't even think about, like, if someone's going through something or not, or whatever, right? And if we choose to say something horrible, then it'll make it even worse for them. But if we choose to say something good to someone, then who knows? There's that potential of getting that person out of there, out of that off feeling, and yeah, be the foundation, be the building blocks, be the bricks to the building, and yeah, it could truly mean the world to someone when you encourage them. And so that's my whole intention with this challenge. Now, like I said, you don't have to participate, but I feel like it's a good thing. I feel like it's a good thing and a wholesome thing to participate in. And let me start off the challenge by saying it. So, you, whoever is listening, I thank you. I thank you for listening, first and foremost. I want to let you know that I appreciate you. I want to let you know that I really appreciate you taking time out of your day, out of your night, to listen to this. Because you truly didn't have to. Whether you're friends with me or not, you really didn't have to listen to this. Whether it's to support me or to learn something. Yeah, like, honestly, at the end of the day, you really didn't have to listen to this. And because you are, I truly thank you. Truly appreciate you for sticking around and for staying consistent. If you are staying consistent. I mean, regardless if you are staying consistent or not, like, I still appreciate you nonetheless. And truly, I care for you and I love you. And hopefully in the future, if we haven't already had the chance to hang out or to meet or something, hopefully in the future there will be that chance and that opportunity to be in each other's presence. Yeah. And that's the start. That's the start of the challenge. Now, obviously, it's not that easy. If I made it sound easy, then I'll be honest, it's not. But it's one step in the right direction. And I want to hopefully end this year spreading positive energy all over, everywhere, anywhere. Just spread positivity, because it's so beautiful to kind of witness that. And yeah, on that note, I think it is time to call it an end to this episode. And yeah, so I talked about a lot today, and with Christmas around the corner, I left you all with a challenge. Whether you participate or not is up to you. Yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Episode 6 of the podcast about relationships. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you all love this episode. And I hope to see you all. I hope that you have another chance to listen to me speak and ramble on about other things, under other random things, and yeah, I love you all. Take care, and goodbye. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hello everyone. It's post-edit Aaron here. Just another quick note. Just like every other episode, I'd like to once again say that there are links in the description for you if you'd like to follow me anywhere, if you'd like to support me on other platforms aside from listening to the podcast and liking the videos or subscribing or whatever. Yeah, there's quite a few links there. I should probably organize it properly, but I'll leave that for the future me. But yeah, I just wanted to also say that I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. I know the holiday season hasn't fully kicked in, but we're close enough, right? 18th of December. We're a week out from Christmas. And yeah, I just want to wish you all the best with your personal life, your family life, with your social life. I hope things go well. I hope that everything can kind of fall into place and that you finish off this year on the most positive note you possibly could. And yeah, once again, I hope you have a wonderful day. Truly appreciate you all. I love you all. Take care and goodbye.